I love business travel. I can travel and focus on the event or the team that I'm working with and go back to my hotel and just relax. And when I get home, all my dishes are clean and I have a healthy meal waiting for me and my refrigerator's stocked. And when I fly internationally, I can take a few days off and go back to work feeling refreshed and energized. Is this how you all experience business travel? You're right. So in reality, I feel like I work about 30 hours a day when I'm traveling for business. And my time is never my own. I work all day long, and then I have more work to do at night in the hotel, and I'm also trying to stay connected to my family. I get home, and there's usually dirty dishes in the sink, and I am eating a chemically concocted boxed frozen delicacy that will heat up in less than 1 minute. And I go right back to work the next day after flying across the country or internationally, and I get sick, and it takes me a month to catch up on the errands. This, a lot of times, is business travel, right? So I am going to give you 3 T tips to survive the Tarmac treadmill. 1, touch or tap once. Now, I don't know what you are thinking, but I am talking about your phone and notifications. So rings, pings, buzzes. Distracting when we're not traveling, right? But when we are, a lot of times we will pick up our phone out of boredom or fear of missing out, and we will be constantly looking at that phone to our email. For the most part, email is very unproductive on a phone unless you can delete it or reply in less than 2 minutes. So if you can tell by the subject line that you need to give a thoughtful response or you need to task it or need to do something with it later, it is a waste of your precious time to open that email. I know the FOMO kills you not to see what's in the content. But if you can tell by the subject line, you can't do anything with it, don't open it. Touch or tap once. 2nd T, transfer responsibility. I automate everything that I can, down to my groceries. I have been in a grocery store 5 times since January because I use Instacart. And Instacart in the RTP area is Harris Teeter, Food Lion, Whole Foods, Costco, Petco. So 2 weeks ago, I sat on a plane, and when they said, okay, doors closing, we're getting ready for takeoff, I knew we were going to leave. So I copied my list over from the 2 weeks prior, scheduled it to be delivered 2 weeks after I got, or 2 weeks, 2 hours after I got home, drove home, took a shower, unpacked, and my fresh groceries were delivered to my door. I will not step foot in a grocery store again unless I have to. And this is all for 10% of your total bill. I am worth $10 out of $100 to not spend an hour in a grocery store. And if you are an Amazon Prime member, I consider it a crime not to use subscribe and save. And that is another way that you can set it and forget it. So if you have 5 things delivered at once, you save off the already low price of Amazon. And you can schedule it in 1 to 6 month intervals. And it's easy to just skip a month. I even put my air filters on there so that I can have my air filters delivered exactly the months that I need to. So I don't need to think about shopping ever. And when I do think about it, like just to say, press send on it, I can do it from wherever I am. So touch and tap once, transfer responsibility to an automated system. And the last T is take, as in take the day. When you travel across time zones, jet lag is a real thing. It affects you not just physiologically, but psychologically, and can take 6 to 11 days to overcome. It affects you cognitively. You have cognitive impairment, loss of short-term memory. It affects your digestion because of the altitude and the air pressure from the plane. And it also can shut off genes that affect your immune system. And that's why you get sick. And they did a study with I think it was the World Bank employees that traveled internationally. And the majority of them said the one thing that would help them is to have a day off when they got back. But only a small percentage ever asked for it. So if you are a manager of people who travel across time zones, the best gift you can give them is the day off, the day after they come back, or at least allow them to work from home. So the 3 T's to survive the Tarmac treadmill is to touch or tap once, transfer responsibility to an automated system, and take the day after international or cross-country travel. With these tips, you can work well, play more, and travel smarter. Will.
How much are you to come to my house and help me figure all this out?
Well, I have a package for that.
Oh.
It's called the Power Plan.
So, and that wasn't staged. I actually was wondering. I'm sitting here thinking, I need that, I need that, I need that. My work needs that. So Marcey's been super gracious. If you look under your chair, she's given a book. Just kidding. Just kidding. Let's have some fun, right? But we do have time for questions. I know, I'm so sorry. Time for questions. Anybody got a question? I promise it's worth it. Yes, sir.
Okay. In my experience, traveling west is always easier than traveling east, and it seems like I can travel up to 3 time zones west and not have it affect me, but if I come back east.
No, you're absolutely right. So traveling from west to east is much harder because it's easier to stay up than to wake up earlier. So if you are, because we're on the East Coast, it's really nice to be respectful of people that you bring to the East Coast for your meetings or conferences. If you are an event planner, don't start your conference at 7 a.m. when you have a lot of people flying from the West Coast, because by about 2 o'clock, they're not going to be there anymore. They're going to be taking a nap in their hotel, or they're just going to be asleep in the chair. And because you were brave enough to ask the first question, you do get a copy of Beyond Travel, a Road Warrior Survival Guide.
I knew that was coming. That's why I teed up the under the chair thing. One more? Time for one more? I have one if no one else is brave enough to ask. Okay. See, that always gets them. Evidently, you don't want me asking a question.
Hi. Forget the business stuff. What's your favorite country to visit personally, like for pleasure?
My most favorite city in the world was Tokyo. Absolutely. If you can ever go there, it was the safest. They were friendly, and it was, people use the word awesome, like, everything's awesome, just like love. Like, I love pizza, I love my husband. But Tokyo was really awesome. Yep. But I'm going to Dubai, and that might trump it.
So you shared a couple of hacks. Mm-hmm. What's the one that you would probably say is the most quote unquote game changing of them all that you if you could do one, which one would you pick to do?
Out of those 3?
Sure, why not? The
touch or tap once, because I don't just coach business travelers, and my number one workshop that people hire me for is email extinguisher. Yeah. And it's a compulsion for most people to check their email all the time. And if you can tell by the subject line that you can't do anything with it, it doesn't help you to open it. So, touch or tap once. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Marcey. Thank you.